Bright Memory Episode 1 was a kind of like a demo slash early access thing that I played a little while ago. It was gifted to me by a friend who described it as first person Devil May Cry. And he wasn't wrong. It's very much that sort of thing. But now that the game's out officially on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation, I kind of have a couple of issues with it. Now, I get that it's an indie game and it's developed by one or a very few number of people, but there are a lot of technical issues. And I don't want to harp too much on the technical issues because I know that that's something that can get patched, and that in fact it is being patched. There was like a day one patch fixing a bunch of issues, but there's still many, many more things that need to be fixed. And I want to give them a break, but it's really hard for me to ignore the frustration that I felt dealing with these technical issues. So there were issues of random explosions happening and killing me, resetting checkpoints. Issues where you're not able to interact with certain things. I could go on, but again, I don't want to go on too much about that because there are other issues that I have with the game. Because what the demo, episode 1, did isn't the same thing that's being done here, where there were a lot of one-on-one encounters that encouraged you to use all of your different abilities. You have a force pulse, you have melee, all sorts of stuff, and the ability to slow down time. In this game, or in the full game, I should say, not this game, it's the same thing. Unfortunately, they have gotten rid of the kind of one-on-one encounters. There's a lot of moments where an enemy that you should probably be fighting one-on-one, you are unfortunately fighting with a group. And if you try to focus on the enemies who melee, you will get shot in the ass and die. And if you turn your back to try and shoot the enemies who are shooting at you, you will get whatever melee weapon the enemy is using up your ass. And it's very obnoxious, and I found that the most efficient way, I guess you could say, to deal with all of these things is to just circle strafe and shoot. Not even use the built-in dodge mechanic, it's literally just walk left or right and shoot. And they tried to implement enemies and bosses who are resistant to that, but they give you so much ammo that... How do I know about this? The reason that Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, and just character action games in general work the way that they do is because their combat is built around spectacle. It's a spectacle. The combat is the spectacle. So there is no other option than the fancy, flashy attacks and stingers and launchers and things like that. In this game, it is not built around that same idea. So you can get fancy and flashy, launch the enemy up into the air and do a sick, melee combo. But unfortunately, that's a terrible way to go about it, and 9 times out of 10, you will take more damage than you're actually doing. So it just doesn't make sense to not just shoot. And that isn't the type of thing that you want in this sort of game. Because where Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, there is no option except being fancy. In this game, there is shoot the enemy and win, or get fancy and risk losing. So there's a guarantee, and then there's a chance that you can win. Why would you not always take the guarantee? And the way the game is built makes me think that it would fit right in with like PlayStation 3 era type shooters. There are a lot of pre-rendered takedowns that don't really need to be there. There's a lot of... I didn't know this at the time, or I didn't expect it, but there's a very long, overdrawn stealth sequence that is just an absolute pacing killer. I mean, this was so bad that I was thinking that I wasn't sure how much footage I was going to need for this video, and when I got to this point and had to like go through the check, I had to reload a checkpoint like 3 times. I was like, maybe I should just quit here. Luckily, I was able to power through and get it done, but man, that really made me think of like old-timey PlayStation 3 brown third-person, first-person shooters that for whatever reason had to have fucking stealth in them. It was bad. But just because in my part or normal parts of the world, not normal, that's not what I meant to say. I don't mean to make it sound like your country isn't normal, China, but the rest of the world kind of learned from the mistakes of that era. But because of the regulations and things that go on in China, they might not necessarily know that, hey, this is something that we don't really do in video games anymore. And there's enough fun here that I think if you were to learn from mistakes, maybe play a bunch of different games and kind of feel out the do's and don'ts, a sequel could really take this and elevate it up to another level and cut out some of the frustration that I feel with this game. Because there's the talent is there. It's a very technically beautiful game. Like they're using RTX and or DLSS, and there's reflection in the water when it runs on your guns, and all of these effects and metal, and it's got the technology, but what it needs is a little more polish in the gameplay aspect and definitely the story aspect, because I don't have any idea what's going on with the story, like at all. And I played the game for a little over 2.5 hours or so. And that's weird for a full release because I understood the story in episode 1, you know? It made sense back then. The story, from what I was able to understand from the little demo, was that some evil paramilitary science group had basically taken technology that was messing up space and time, and you were going in to stop them and fix it. Now here, they mentioned something about a weather machine, and a satellite, and a black hole, and the character leaves her apartment. She's all of a sudden in some sort of... I thought it was an airplane myself, but it's some sort of thing that he said initiate warp drive. And after that, stuff just starts happening, and it doesn't stop happening, but there's no connection, and there's no context. So you're fighting these enemies. I don't know who they are, what they're after, because the game doesn't really tell you that. So the story is definitely lacking. I have no idea what the hell is going on. And unfortunately, it creates this disaster soup situation where I ran into technical bugs, the gameplay was pissing me off, and the story didn't make any damn sense. So, obviously, I'm disappointed because I was really hyped for the episode 1. After the episode 1, I was really hyped for the full release of the game. And this is not what I was expecting to happen. However, the game is only $20. And I know that they're going to fix the technical issues. I think this is something that I can recommend, even though I didn't exactly have the best experience with it, because it's an indie title, and for an indie title, it's showing a high level of competence as far as the way the game is made. And I think that going forward, if they make a sequel or if they make another game, it'll probably be better, and they can just keep going up and up and up in quality. So, if you've seen any aspect of this gameplay, and any of it strikes you, I'd say why not give it a try. I don't hate it. I really don't. I just had some frustrating moments that have kind of brought down what I thought this game was going to be. But yeah, let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. What do you think about stuff like uh, pre-rendered takedowns, obligatory stealth sequences, and you know, this sort of thing? Because also, let me know what you think about the idea of a first-person character action game and how it should be done. Because in my head, it sounds very difficult, but still possible if you have enemy designs and abilities that cater to different situations. And this game does have that, they're just misusing it. It's very strange. But anyway, I'd like to have a discussion about it. I don't know anybody else who's playing it currently. So, yeah, check it out. It's on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation. And I will see you guys for another video. Until then, take care.